And then you go to another training class and it's from somebody from Des Moines, Iowa. You know, I don't know. I mean, you're getting the training from the best in the company, not the best in that office, which is huge, in my opinion. Okay? Regis office spaces, so if you do need a physical office space to meet somebody, everybody gets, every EXP for free gets a Regis office membership. So you can go to any Regis office in the world. There's 18,000. I was shocked when I Googled Regis offices in this area. It's like one every other corner. Like in Charlotte, we have like 4. Here, I'm like, let's go see that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. So you just walk in, I have a little mobile app, they scan my little barcode, and I can walk in and utilize that office, their common area, meet clients, coffee, whatever I want. Okay, so if you do need a place to go, we do have that.
Is that unlimited or is it a certain amount of time?
It's unlimited. Okay. So you can go work there every single day if you want to.
I think we have 3,000 office spaces.
3,000, we have 4.
And here.
Yeah, 3,000 just in this area. There's 18,000, I think, in the world. And there's some in some airports. And I sure was looking for one the other day. Unfortunately, it wasn't there. So, stock program. So let's talk about stock real quick. So here's how you're rewarded stock. As soon as you close your first transaction, you're going to get that 80% of the commission, right? They're going to give you 25 shares of stock. Today, it's right around $12 a share. What is 12 times 62?
Oh, yeah, 12 bucks.
12 times 25. Somebody, math. Who's got a calculator? How much?
300.
300 bucks. Okay. So close your first transaction. They're going to give you what is equal today as $300 of shares. They're going to give you 25 shares. Now, if in a year from now that's at 25 bucks a share, now you've got 25 times 25, right? If it goes down to 6, well, now it's 6 times whatever, right? But it's given to you. I'm never going to turn down stock, ever. Okay. Once you fully cap, you're going to give me 50 shares. Not going to get my hat, but I am going to get 50 shares. Okay? I'll trade that hat for 50 shares any day. And anytime you sponsor somebody into the company and they sell their first house, close on their first house, they're still going to get their 25 shares, but you're going to get 50 shares for just introducing them into EXP. Okay? The Icon Agent Award, this is why all these big iconic agents, these big teams came over. Once you cap and do an additional 20 transactions, they're going to give me my $16,000 that I paid in the form of stock. So what's 16,000 divided by 12 bucks a share? They're going to give me 1,333 shares. So I iconed yesterday. Woohoo! So at the end of November, I'm going to be hitting that. I'm going to look at my account, refreshing, until I see my 1,333 shares of stock in my account. KW is a great company. I was glad to pay in that $25,000. I believe it was worth it. I never got my $25,000 back, ever. I never even had a chance to get that money back, ever. Okay? They needed that money to pay for their brick and mortar. Okay? So the only other way you can icon, because there were some San Diego agents that did not like the way EXP set up their program, because they don't sell 20 homes a year. They sell 8. But they're $5 million a piece. So they said, or you have a total GCI of 500,000, or you sell about 16.7 million. So if you sell one house for 16.7 million, you're going to be considered an icon agent. For me, it's going to be 10 and then an additional 20. But either way, I'm getting that money back. Okay? Then there's 2 ways that you can purchase it. One, just go to EXPI, buy it 100%, whatever the value is, just like my father-in-law did. Or they will take 5% of every one of my commission checks, buy it for me at a 20% discount. So I think I have bought right around 6,000 shares already this year, just based on, or not 6,000, 600 shares, which is 6,000. And I got them at a 20% discount. Now, I want to let you know, any stock that is given to you, just like any other company, there's a 3-year vesting period. You leave the company after 2.5 years, you don't get to take the stock with you, okay? This down here, I bought it, I own it, I can take it whenever I want. So they created this a little bit for turnover, right? They want to try to incentivize agents to stay with the company versus flipping companies all the time, okay? Revenue share. So I'm going to talk about what revenue share and profit share is. So profit share, real quick, it was KW's way of changing the real estate business in late 90s, early 2000s. Really took place around 2003 is when they started to see a big explosion. Is an agent sells a house, that house turns into money. Right? It's commission check. Brokerages share a portion of that commission with the agent, and they keep a portion for themselves, right? That's just the way real estate works, right? They use this money to pay their bills, to pay for their office staff, for their office supplies. They have overhead, right? So they're going to use their portion to pay for this, and then hope to have a profit at the end of the day. Because let's face it, everybody that owns, say, a KW franchise bought the franchise to make money. That's good with that. Every guy that bought a Subway sandwich shop bought it to make money, right? They bought a franchise. Well, what KW did was they decided that if there was any profit left over, they were going to share half of that profit with the agents that were producing that year. Now, keyword was if there is any profit left over. There is a ton of KW franchises that are not profitable or barely profitable. So they're not sharing a lot of that commission. There's actually been a couple of cases where people lost their franchise because they were manipulating the overhead cost to keep what? To keep profits down so they didn't have to share so much with the agents. That's a problem. If you're the owner, if you're giving out these franchises, selling these franchises to people and they're manipulating it, that's a problem. So what EXP has decided to do was, how about we just share the money with the agents first, share the revenue regardless of profit, and then if there's anything left over, we'll pay our bills. Your head sinker on that for a second.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So here is, if there's any profit left over, we're going to share. Here is, we're going to share, and the profit that's left over, we're going to pay our bills. Because remember, we don't have that much bills. We don't have that many bills now. We have technology and staff work from home. That's really what we have. Okay? So what that looks like is, we're going to call this Tier 1 and Tier 2. So Tier 1 is somebody that you personally sponsor into EXP. Okay? So when I was about to join, I was pretty darn close to joining. I called Rummy and I said, I want you to take a look at this and tell me why I shouldn't do this. Like, tell me why this is a bad idea. Because I literally think I'm going to take my company over to EXP. I don't see any, I can't find a reason why this is not good for my family and why it's not good for the agents that work for me. And you see how that worked out.
You couldn't say it again. Why is not
Listen,
good for the agents?
it wasn't just good for me. It was also good for my agents. They have the same opportunities that I have now to be able to stop selling houses and still make a residual income. And they did not have that when they just worked for me, because I didn't have any type of sharing option. Okay? So every time that somebody that you personally bring into the company sells a house, you're going to get 3.5% of their total gross commission. So every time Rummy, because I am Rummy's sponsor, every time Rummy sells a house, I get excited. I've known Rummy for a long time, so I was always a little bit excited for him, but now I'm a little bit more excited. He's actually on my Christmas card list.
My kids too.
Yeah, your kids will probably get gifts this year from Uncle David. So let's just say, for instance, let's say that you over the next couple, 3, 5 years, whatever it is, you can bring on 5 people. Okay? And those people can bring on just 1 apiece. Now, every time one of these people sell a house, so Ishmael, every time he sells, I get 4%. So I'm really excited when Ishmael sells a house. But guess what? Rummy's also getting 3.5. Okay, so where's all this money coming from, right? So I skipped. So if you can get 5 people, they can get 5 people. Producing agents. Agents still have to sell houses, right? You can make up to $30,000 in revenue share just because you brought in 5 people that can bring in 1 person each. That's more than you're paying into the company. You're only paying 16 grand into the company. So you're now making more than 100% of your commission. That's more than 100%. So I've had people tell me, well, David, you know, the 80-20, you know, I'm at a 100% place. And I'm like, first of all, you're not at a 100% place because the company has to make money somewhere. Well, yeah, but I just pay up a 5% franchise fee and a $3.95 transaction fee. I'm like, hey, that's fantastic. That is a really good deal. Wasn't as good as my deal. My deal was 100%. I own my own company. And I still jumped in. And I jumped in because I knew I could make more than 100%. Okay? Now, I didn't do the math on this up here. But if this person can get 5, 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 this is now 90 grand a year. This is changing lives, guys. I mean, what can somebody do with an extra $30,000 a year? I mean, I just found out you guys can pay your taxes. Holy cow, you guys pay a lot of taxes.
He just found out that we pay like 10, 20 grand in taxes.
We pay like $3,700 a year in taxes. Anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to rub that in. My bad. Yes, sir.
Producing how many volume per month?
Capping, 2.6 billion.
Oh, now
Yep.
each one have to.
That's right. Well, but here's the thing is, so let's just say that I bring you in. Okay, you personally name me as your sponsor, which is why I would never want you to do that. But let's just, for this scenario, say that you did that. And let's say that you only sold $1 million worth of real estate for the whole entire year. Okay? You're going to pay in 20% to the company, right? And I'm going to get 3.5% of the total gross commission every single time you have a closing. Once you cap and you stop paying money in for that 1 year, they cannot share money with me. Because this is, watch this. This is where the money comes from. So you got a $10,000 closing. Remember, the agent's going to get 80% of it. So they're going to get 8 grand. They're going to minus that transaction fee of 25 bucks. Okay? Now here's another key thing. Get paid at the closing table. State specific. Don't know about New York. Don't know about Connecticut. I know in North Carolina, we get paid at the closing table our 8 grand. The attorney will cut a $2,000 check to EXP and an $8,000 check to David Upchurch or Tim Smith or Laura Hill or whoever the agent is.
I'm moving there.
Now, watch worst case scenario. So we're right on the border. Charlotte is right on the border of North Carolina and South Carolina. So we all, about 20% of our business is in South Carolina. South Carolina Real Estate Commission says that cannot happen. The money, all 10,000, has to go to the broker. Then the broker can do whatever they want with that money. It's pretty traditional, like most places, right? Well, watch this. EXP will cut you your 8 grand before they get the 10 grand. Yes?
How do you send the check?
Okay.
Do you have to mail that? or-
Nope. So what will happen is,
For us, I'll answer
oh, is it
that.
different for you?
Yeah, we have to mail it in.
You have to mail it?
Yeah, we gotta take a copy of the check, and then that's their responsibility to upload that. Once you mail it in, they get the check, but they will cut you a check as soon
So
as
we
you get
get
it.
the check immediately at closing?
If you have all your documentations, that's it.
Okay.
so closing, let me make sure I understand. So closing takes place, I'm an agent,
Yep.
I'm at the closing table,
Yep.
deal's done.
Yep.
I get the EXP check for 10 grand,
Yes.
and then I make a copy of it.
Yeah.
I put it into my SkySlope system
Yeah.
to let EXP know that I have the check,
It came immediately.
and as long as I have all my documents, right, as long as they're going to check, make sure we have all of our documents, they're immediately going to pay me my 8 grand.
And
And
it's
then how is
there,
that released? Is that, are you sent the check or? is
Direct
it
deposit.
Direct deposit.
with us is mail, then litigation.
Can you repeat that, I'm sorry?
we mail that out to them, but once we keep a copy of the check, it's their responsibility. If the check gets lost, something happens, they'll directly contact their attorneys, it's their responsibility.
But EXP will direct deposit you your amount.
Yeah, your direct deposit to you.
Okay.
Okay, so you're gonna mail the check to EXP. All you have to do is make a copy of it, let EXP know, put it in this file, say, hey, we're closed, here's the check, here's a copy of it, proof that it's been cut. I'm mailing it today, they will literally cut you your money. They'll direct deposit you your money. The longest that I have ever seen it take was 48 hours, and most of the time it's the very next day. And I've had a couple occasions where it was the same day. Okay, yes?
I really love that. No longer have to wait 4 or 5 days for you to get paid.
So when I left KW and opened up my own, I told all of my agents, you will get paid within 48 hours of the closing, as long as your documents are right. Then I told my staff that was cutting the checks, 24 hours. You pay these people as fast as possible. They need this money, they've earned it, it's their money, let's get it to them. That's what I believed in, right? But most brokerages won't do that. I mean, I actually even had an account so I could pay them as fast as possible. I can't do it even this fast.
It takes me 7 days to get a lease commission check when I do the rental. 7 days to get paid.
Yeah, that's
Much more for rent.
6.5 days too long in my opinion. Take us the same time. Yeah. Okay, so what's going to happen in this situation? Let's back up. So $10,000 commission check. Agent gets $8,000 potentially at closing or super close to it. Then EXP is going to take them. They're taking 20% because you have a cap check. So they're going to take that $2,000. Okay. Now they're going to go to your level 1, and they're going to say, well, let's pay this level 1 $350 of the $2,000. So the agent is not being affected. It is coming from the company's revenue. They're going to go to level 2 and say, okay, let's pay level 2 the 4% of the total gross commission check. So remember, it's always the total of the gross. So when Rummy sells a house, I'm getting 3.5%. Every time he closes a deal, I get a check for 3.5%. Unless it's one of his agents that sells it, then they would be on my level 2, and I get a check for 4% of that total check. Make sense? So I'm getting it as they close.
Then 4% coming from me?
No.
From the no.
No, it's coming from the company. So the agent is still getting their $8,000. They're still getting their 80%. So that's super important you guys understand that. The agent that you bring into the company is not being affected by what you're getting paid. You're getting paid from the revenue of EXP. Make sense? This is super confusing. So I'm literally going to stay here.
like 10 times.
Yeah. They will do this 7 levels deep. Just like KW. KW is 7 levels deep. They'll go 7 levels deep.
Comes from the company.
Okay.
It's revenue.
So, real quick, let's recap. So, massive growth,
Yeah, that's what, yeah, I know.
like you've never seen in the real estate business before. 80-20 split, 16K cash, stock rewards, revenue share, technology with KV4, world-class CRM, SkySlope, EXP Enterprise, instant support 8 to 8, 30 hours of training, live training, and also that training is also recorded. I forgot to say this. So if you want to go to a seller listing presentation class and it's at noon on Tuesday and you have a closing on noon on Tuesday, they record all of these classes. The only thing that you can't do, unfortunately, is raise your hand and ask a question because it's been recorded. Okay, but everything is recorded. Regis Office Spaces, and then mentorship seven levels deep. Because I tell everybody, realistically, I'll go 100 levels deep. Anybody at EXP has questions, I'm open to it. I mean, I'm gonna help these people because they're part of the brokerage that we all own. We're stock owners of this company. If you own Apple, do you want Apple to be successful? If you own some EXP stock, you want EXP to be successful. So we're going to help agents. The collaboration with EXP agents all over the world is insane because we all are going to benefit from the growth of the company.
If say after 5 years you leave, do you still get paid from the agents that you brought in?
No. So here's this question. So I'll just take you guys right now. I have brought in 14 agents, individual 14. That 14 has turned into 43. So, if I decide to leave EXP,
Retire.
hang on a second, retiring and leaving EXP is two different things, and I'll touch on both. If I decide to leave EXP and move my license to another brokerage or go inactive, then I am no longer going to receive revenue from those closings. Here's why. It is revenue, remember, it's revenue, not profit. So it is considered a commission check. You have to be a licensed realtor to receive a commission check. If you leave EXP as a brokerage and go somewhere else, that goes away as well. Here's the key thing, and my wife is in the back of the room, and I just informed her today, to not to her surprise, she's getting a real estate license in January. She's like, what? No, don't clap for her. She's not happy about it. But let me tell you why she's getting her real estate license. She'll never sell a house, right? You know, she has zero interest. She's a teacher.